What's good, YouTube and Twitch, because we're live to Twitch right now, and welcome to the house. New fossil support has dropped by the bucket load. It looks like a ton of cards are here, and I didn't cover the first fossil cards that actually did drop, but they were pretty amazing. So to recap real quick, the fusion spell is pretty crazy. You can only use this card's second effect once per turn. Fusion summon a fossil fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing monsters from either graveyard as material. If you banish monsters from both graveyards with this effect, the special summon monster also cannot be targeted by monster effects, so it gets extra protection when you use your opponent's resources. And if a face-up fossil fusion monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, and this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand, so it also recycles itself. And the first fusion was also a banger, but you've probably already read that. Well, we can circle back all the way later. Let's get into the brand new fossil cards, starting with Weathering Soldier, Tag Force Efflorescent Knight, a level 4 Earth Rock effect monster. Rocks are really taking off, and he has 2,000 freaking attack. You can use the first effect of this card's name once per turn only if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, so like a fusion spell, or if this card is destroyed by battle. You can add from your deck to your hand either one fossil fusion or one card that specifically lists fossil fusion in its text, except Weathering Soldier. Wow, so you get an additional search / ability to play a fusion spell. Is this fusion spell any kind of once per turn? You can only use the second effect once per turn, so no, you can go ahead and use it again. That's pretty cool, especially under the new master rule. Once per turn during your end phase, this card loses 600 attack because it's a 2,000. You're not going to be leaving this on the field most likely, but that stat is definitely nice in simplified game state, so I understand this a little bit. Now, there's a ton of fusions, and we'll see how those panned out. We're going to start with Meozoic Fossil Knight Skull Knight, 4K Media Fossil Warrior Skull Knight, a level 6 Earth Rock Fusion effect monster, attack 2,400, defense 1,100, materials is a rock monster plus one level 5 or 6 monster specifically. That's so mega specific. Must be first special summoned with Fossil Fusion. You can only use the third effect of this card's name only once per turn, so maybe the payoff is big. If this card attacks defense position, inflict piercing, the classic. When this attacking card destroys a monster by battle, so opponent reliant, you can activate this effect. It can attack again! So this is starting to stack up a lot of classic effects. Third effect, you can banish this card in your graveyard, target a monster on the field, destroy that monster. So if you're fusing up a line to where you're fusing multiple times in a turn, I suppose it is a resource in graveyard. Well, it is a fossil after all. This guy looked like a warrior. I saw the art earlier, but I have no idea about him. Fossil Warrior Skullbone. That's kind of cool lore if he is some kind of warrior-like monster rather than just a dinosaur. It's a level 4 Earth Rock Fusion effect monster. Attack only 2,000, defense 800. It's a rock monster plus a level 4 or lower monster. It's so generic, so if they activate a hand trap from the turn, your Fossil Fusion is going to allow you to use it. Must first be special summoned with Fossil Fusion. You can use the second effect only once per turn. If this card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during the battle phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 time stream from your deck to your hand. So another searching effect. It seems like all these guys are going to do something different by banishing themselves from the graveyard. This is what I'm looking forward to. The T-Rex! The T-Rex! So, 4K Media. Fossil Dragon Skullgaios, a level 8 Earth Rock Fusion effect monster, attack 3,500 but 0 defense. That's Conductor Tyranno stance. This is one rock monster plus a level 7 or higher monster in your opponent's graveyard specifically. No! Oh! Specifically opponent's grave? Oh, man. Must be special summoned with Fossil Fusion. If this card battles an opponent's monster before damage calculation, you can switch the current attack and defense of that monster. If this card attacks a defense position and inflict piercing, double any battle damage that your opponent takes from battles involving their monster in this card. So opponent reliant. Gosh, I hate when that happens. I was looking forward to summoning T-Rexes and doing... Oh, man. Specific. So freaking specific. Now, this guy looks pretty badass, too. Looking forward to what he does. This is Fossil Dragon Skullgar. Wait, wasn't that the... Skullgar? Okay. 2,500/0. It must be a rock monster and a level 4 or lower monster in the opponent's graveyard again. I get that's what the fusion card does, but come on, man. Come on. Must first be special summoned with Fossil Fusion. You can use the second effect of this card's name only once per turn. If it attacks defense, do piercing for some reason. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add a Fossil Fusion from deck to hand. So another way to search it. Pretty big attack for a level 4. I guess that's instant fusionable too. Instant fusions at 1. So that is important to note. But nope, must be. So it's not actually. Its stats are, but it has restrictions. Time Stream, the card mentioned earlier, also looks very badass. Target a Fossil Fusion monster you control, tribute that monster, and if you do special summon from your extra deck a Fossil Fusion monster that is 2 level higher than the tributed original level, this is treated as a fusion summon with Fossil Fusion. So that sounds like it ignores its summoning conditions a little, or fulfills the requirements because you're special summoning it, and it's treated as a fusion summon so you can revive it even. That's what I'm getting out of it, that you wouldn't have to use those materials since this is the material. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish both this card and 1 Fossil Fusion monster from your graveyard, target a Fossil Fusion monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So it has the further ability to revive, but you're going to want to continuously banish your cards for their effects. So that does conflict a little, so it's like the okie dokie, and also leaving yourself open to Called by the Grave. I still like this card a lot. It gives what it needs to avoid the summon restrictions, it feels like, of the materials, and cheeses out what you need. So it has to be exactly 2 levels higher, though. So like this guy is a level 8, you would go ahead and use the level 6 to go up into him. Seems like you're going through loops to do what you want your deck to do, though. Specimen Inspection. At least everything's searchable so far, too, though. Normal spell card. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. Reveal a Fossil Fusion in your hand. Send a monster from your hand to the graveyard. And if you do, declare a monster type and level. And if you do, your opponent sends 1 monster of the declared type and level from hand or deck to graveyard. So you can make them foolish, the declared levels that you want, if they're playing them. If they're playing them. So you gotta have matchup knowledge. Man, it really pays off later in the tournament when you know what they're running, but you gotta get to that point, huh? Also, still, you have to send a monster from your hand. So this is revealing, specifically, you have to have the Fossil Fusion already. You have to send the monster, and then kind of call it right, if any. 3 things. 3 things, wow. And what a lot of stream was looking forward to learning, what is Giant Soldier of Stone doing here? Miracle Rupture, a normal spell. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. Send a level 4 or lower rock monster from deck to graveyard, then if Fossil Fusion's in your graveyard, draw 1 card. It's a Foolish Burial with a 1-for-1 like effect if you've already been fusing. So it's an extender play, not a starter play. Not a bad one at all, self-replacing, but it's a hard once per turn, which makes it hard to play multiple, despite the fact that you'll want to play multiple. All in all together, it does seem like the payoff is huge. Of course, this is 1 level 7 or higher monster, so it seems like there's 2 sides of the gates. You have the one that will use it freely from both graveyards, and the ones that will use it only from your opponents. This card must be special summoned with Fossil Fusion. It can make a second attack during each battle phase. It pierces, and then during your opponent's turn quick effect, you can target a monster in your opponent's graveyard, discard a card, and special summon it to your field. So a lot of using your opponent's stuff, but also the fusion inherently wants to banish those for free resources. It feels like I'm mixed on this. It feels like it all comes together. I love it when a plan comes together, but it feels like the interruptions that can happen on your way there are too dang high. It's too much. It's like, you have to have this happen. I have to make this happen. It's very anime-esque, and I don't necessarily mind that, but it's a lot of lining things up to go your way or forcing them to go your way in order to achieve these things. And once people get down the playstyle, it's like, oh, I'm not going to hand trap here, you're just going to use my material. People will also learn to play against this. So in my opinion, yes, your opponent eventually has to play and put stuff in the graveyard, but they're going to learn to pick and choose and not let your things all line up together. Even when you try to force them to happen, you're going to have matchup knowledge to make things happen, and have so many resources put towards it. Man, it's such a high cost to get your things going your way. Overall, though, I do like it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good is Dragoon? Oh yeah, we'll just start talking about the other cards. But thanks for watching, everybody. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversation. Anybody in open chat have any words if they want to throw them in before I interrupt you and end the video?
They could use a bit more support by juggling Time Stream, in my opinion.
Well, 1 card did add Time Stream, but yeah, it still took some build up to it, right? Yeah, you can banish this card from graveyard, add time stream, so at least the one of the fusions does it, and it's the generic any level 4 fusion monster 1. But yeah, it's it seems like a very particular kind of setup that you're forcing, I suppose. I wonder if they work with Adamanticators. They are Rocky Boys, aren't they? They are all Rocky Boys, so that is a pretty good wonder on how you could be playing this deck and lining it up. And the new Adamanticator card actually restricts you to rocks, so these fit right in, don't they? They are almost, they're all rocks. The fusions are all rocks because they're straight up fossils, so they've got some good options. They've got some stuff going for them, even if it's just an engine. I think some of this will see play. The fusion spell is very, very good, but boy, is it very specific. Thanks for watching, everybody.